This is Lemon's Car Spotting. You post to Instagram with the hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting. We pick the hooptiest.
They are so incredibly terrible.
And which one we want to become a real Lemons build.
It does car-like things. I've been pushing for one of those in Lemons too, and those are very affordable.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Lemon's Car Spotting. I am Eric, and that is Nick over there, where I'm pointing in that general region. If you've never seen this before, basically we take the cars that you spot on the street, the weird ones, the cool ones, the crappy ones, and we talk about them. So tag your stuff, Lemon's Car Spotting on Instagram. We'll talk about it. And each week we pick the car that we want to see made into a Lemon's car and the car that we think is hooptiest.
Yeah, and in order to do that, we've got the Lemons build over here and the hooptiest over here. This will be choosing for Eric. Eric, close your eyes. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
That's the hooptiest. That means you're doing the hooptiest. I'm doing the Lemons build. Let us get going.
Oh, man.
Look at that.
We've got a front runner for the hooptiest. Good Lord.
Yeah. It's a Civic CVCC era. Now, there's a trivia question. What does CVCC stand for?
I don't know, but well, somebody in the comments will obviously know, but I love the door handle that is like wedged in there and almost certainly doesn't work correctly.
Yeah. I think the V is vortex and combustion is one of the C's. Probably controlled is one of the other C's. Anyway, this contributor, Bob Nova 42, I'm not sure if we've seen a post from him yet. He says, great fun to drive, less fun when you lose a head gasket every 6 months. I didn't know that was a feature of this era Honda, although the fact that this one is driving around now maybe hints that that wasn't a widespread problem.
Could be. This has to be from somewhere near a coast almost. That kind of rust that is that pervasive, that high on the car suggests like salt spray.
Yeah. Well, it looks like, Bob Nova has done the owner the privacy courtesy of blocking out the license plate because, we wouldn't want people stalking the owner of this thing on the internet. But that does look like a blue California plate to me, which would be correct for this era. So, it's got that Pacific breeze written all over it.
That's right. That's spectacular.
Right. Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, next up. Oh, man. It's a Lotus Europa. Man.
Kind of, anyway.
Yeah, good Lord. So this is from Dylan Beckman. He says that it's a 71 Lotus Europa Series 2. I always thought, so there are two different versions of this body. There's the first one, which is like this. The roof line continues directly into the sort of flying buttress rear end. And then the later ones, there was a step, which presumably was to increase 3/4 rearward visibility because, that's going to be your main concern when you're driving a Lotus Europa. And in my opinion, it really killed the design. Like, if you get one, you want one that's this style where it's sort of all one shape in the back. And I always thought that was the determining factor between Series 1 and Series 2, but I could be wrong.
I know nothing about these other than they would probably be the most terrifying car to drive on the actual road because your normal Canyonero would just run this thing over without ever seeing it.
Yeah, a mutual friend of myself and Jay's has one of these things, and when I was a kid, you don't have a sense of like how a car is constructed. And so, you get in and it feels like, it's low and whatever, but you don't know that there's actually nothing protecting you from being impaled by a real car, something like a VW Beetle. So, in my older age, now that I know that how these things are screwed together, I'm a little bit less excited about driving one on the street. Actually, funny story about that very car. Jay and my friend John, who has one of these, he was participating in a closed race or closed road hill climb. And so these things, his is a Series 1 single cam, which is like some old pushrod Renault motor, which is fine when your car weighs 600 pounds. It's got the motor in the middle, and then in the back there's a little cargo tray where you can put luggage and stuff. And so he's doing this closed road hill climb, loses it, starts going backwards off the road, realizes he's headed right for the ambulance. And the last thing he saw before impact was the paramedics running for their lives. and so he's like bracing for the impact. Finally, thump, like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Everybody's okay. Like, car's probably okay. Like, he gets out and it looks like a plane crash. Like his underpants are in the street over there. All the luggage is strewn about. The car's got a big hole in it. Like Godzilla took a bite out of it, and it was like a 4-mile-an-hour impact. So there you go. Next up. Oh man, look at that. Now this is my entry in the defunct GM factory tour. Now, we've mentioned this on this channel before. Judge Phil has this idea to do a tour of defunct Midwest GM factories, although lately his scheme for this event that's never going to happen is to start on the West Coast. Why not? We've got defunct GM factories right here in Oakland, California. So it's this ongoing discussion of, what would we all drive in the defunct GM factory tour? And, I've decided, because my name is right in the name, that it's got to be a Pontiac, and I'm going for comfort and not performance. So this is really kind of what I'm shooting for here, is something like this.
Well, Nick, here's the thing about Pontiac. It's not just luxury, it's luxury and performance.
And not only that, luxury, performance, and excitement.
That's right. They built excitement. And I gotta say, for all the things that Pontiac and GM were doing, the wheel game of Pontiac in the 80s and the early 90s was as good as I think any OEM's ever had it.
I agree. This one's got those crazy, like, semi-pseudo 3-spokes, but probably more like 6 or 9-spoke, twisted turbine. Yeah, very of the era. And let me point out, even though the defunct GM factory rally is never going to happen, what does happen is the Lemons rally, the Rust Belt, what's it called? The Rust Belt Ramble. Yeah. And it's essentially that. So if you want to bring a funky old General Motors car and tour around the Rust Belt, that's the event for you.
Absolutely. This thing's perfect for it.
Yep.
Never had a Bonneville race Lemons also.
There you go. Oh, man, speaking of rust, look at that.
Those Studebaker trucks?
Yeah, looks like it. Man, there used to be a guy before they raised the entire building and turned the block into a Stanford healthcare complex. There was a cool old brick building with weird little shops in it in Emeryville, and there was a guy who had a bunch of this era Studebaker truck. These are weathered.
Yeah. Yeah, Latrobe, Pennsylvania, so deep into Pennsylvania, where they use a lot of salt on the roads.
Yeah,
and these have borne the brunt of many winters. Looks like.
Yeah. This is that kind of surface rust where you're like, yeah, like maybe it's just like kind of on the surface, and then you look at the front edge of the hood and you're like, nope.
Yeah,
It goes through the whole car.
Half of the engine is somehow rusted through.
Yeah, exactly.
Studebaker trucks, pretty damn cool design, though.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next up. Oh, man. We have someone's daily driver, which also happens to be the pace car.
Yeah, boy, Overland Park, Kansas. So I wonder if this is one of the racetracks out there. I don't think the NASCAR track probably uses a dart, but who knows?
Oh, it's a dart. I thought it was an Avenger.
No, that is That is definitely a dart. There's a lot happening here, by the way, as we look at this car.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this smacks of like the local circle track, and the guy who is the Dodge dealer in town fancies himself a NASCAR legend and has donated a Dodge Dart to be the pace car, thus making all activities at the racetrack tax deductible through his business. And then he dumps all of that money into a late model modified, which he then uses to finish fourth and then blame that result on some type of grave injustice. That's the picture I'm painting.
Yeah, I think that's right. Specific to the car, you have some kind of aftermarket 5 spokes on it to make it extra cool for photo ops, obviously. And the Whalen graphic, I believe Whalen makes like
they make like the lighting
system,
the lighting systems. Yeah. Which is, I will say those lights are really effective, and you see them everywhere on circle tracks, and they aren't really used so much on road courses, and I think they'd be useful there too. So small town car dealer that wants to dump all your money into racing, do it for a road course, and maybe we'll get a lighting system out of it.
There you go. Thompson Speedway, where we go, their pace car is a Dodge Avenger of this era as well. So
nice.
I feel like Dodge dealers are in on the racetrack game, apparently.
Well, what are you going to do? Sell a Dodge? I mean, turning it into a tax deduction sure seems like the smart financial move.
I think so.
All right. Oh, man. The Mazda MPV. Now, I go back to a time when it was cool for rappers to drive MPVs. I mean, the Wu-Tang Clan has several shout-outs, both in lyric and in music video, to the Mazda MPV. And I love that. I love the fact that the Mazda MPV was a cool car for the best rappers of the time. Now it's like everybody's got a Range Rover, and it's the same thing where, like, rappers and Jeff Bezos have the same kinds of cars. We don't want that. We want rappers to be into Suzuki Samurais and Mazda MPVs, and leave the Rolls Royces to the corporate bosses. But other than that, I don't know. Is this a good vehicle? Nobody knows.
Who knows? This one still exists. That's impressive.
It sure does.
It's such a weird design. It's kind of in the Previa sphere of strange people mover designs that kind of work of their own ilk, but look strange compared to other things of the era.
Yeah. Well, and it's not even as strange as a Previa, so it sort of has that, like, not weird enough to be a Previa, but not conventional enough to be a Dodge Caravan, which is probably the reason why they sold, 100 of them, 4 of them, or I should say 9 of them to each member of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah. It's weird from this angle. Like, if you put your hand up and you cover the back 2/3 of the car, it looks vaguely like Mitsubishi Monteero-ish.
Yeah, sure.
And then if you cover the front half, it looks like a 2/3 scale Aerostar.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's kind of a mind-bending thing the more you look at it.
Yeah. Well, and all of this is ignoring the fact that it has the stance of carrying around 17 dead bodies in the back.
Right. This is also a cold case file car waiting to happen.
Absolutely correct. Okay, next up.
Yeah, speaking of Monteeros, look at this thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. 2-door Monteero, which was in direct competition with the contemporary 2-door Trooper. What a choice to be made. I mean, these are cars that were successful in many parts of the world. I think they're simple. They have reasonably rugged 4-wheel drive systems, but I don't know. What was it about Central America where they didn't realize that this was, like, not a good car? Or maybe it worked there and doesn't work here. I don't know.
Maybe they just want to be somewhere that's not cold. Maybe that's it.
Maybe it's a temperature problem.
Yeah. I don't know. It's super weird. like a Monteero. Never seen that here in the Midwest. Like
Yeah,
these don't exist.
that's
I was
right.
I was driving home from Buttonwillow, or driving to the airport from Buttonwillow, and I saw like a Monteero club on the highway that had been off doing Monteero club stuff, which I assume is, moderately expensive drugs and
Yeah,
out in
yeah.
the
I was
desert.
gonna say, yeah.
But like, oh, there's a bunch of Monteros. I've literally never seen that before in my entire life.
I've never seen more than 2 in one place myself.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a line of like 11 on the highway, and it was weird. Super weird.
All right, next up, we have clearly a work of art. It looks like a Triumph Spitfire.
Or what was one at one time. Boy, yeah, that looks like it has unfortunately been parked in the wrong place for a very long time.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we don't know whether whether it was augmented while it was parked there, but I think I do see overspray on the pavement. So yeah, it's God, if you're a graffiti artist, I mean, I'd imagine that you're scouring the town looking for white box trucks, because that's how you can best show off your art. And then,
Right.
You have to settle for a really tiny British car instead.
Yeah, boy. Maybe that's just well, this is something different. Let's give this a whirl. I don't know.
Stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Something tells me there's a discussion on Nextdoor about this vehicle.
Yeah.
All right, last car for the week. Oh, man. It's a forerunner, or possibly a Hilux Surf, but it's a four-door pickup-ized version. I don't think that's factory. I don't think that they made that anywhere.
Yeah, the misaligned tailgate with the bed top suggests, that is a homemade and kind of really well done.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I mean, obviously the crew cab compact pickup truck was something that we did not have in the United States for the longest time, and now that's all we have. Although compact pickup trucks are now the size of 69 F350s, but for a time, there was no such thing as a four-door pickup truck, and if this is in the States, then somebody took matters into their own hands.
Yeah, it looks like they curved the C-pillars even, like they kind of wrapped it around. It's really well done.
Yeah, nicely done. And,
it looks better. I was going to say, it looks better than a modern Honda Ridgeline. So,
I actually kind of like the Ridgeline. I don't know. It's certainly shorter than any modern four-door truck.
Right.
So it's got that going for it. So yeah, pretty cool. All right, it's time for awards. Hooptiest, you are on the hook for Hooptiest.
Oh man, so many to choose from. I mean, we had the spray bombed Spitfire, pretty good. The Studebaker trucks that are all rusted out, that's also good. The Lotus Europa in parts, fantastic. Hard to top that, but I think the completely rusted top to bottom Honda Civic CVCC is kind of a slam dunk.
It's pretty hoopty, and I think one element of hooptiness, which we don't, it's not a hard and fast rule, but one element that I do give a little bit of extra credit to is being running. Because if you're just done and in a junkyard, like, well, any car can be done in a junkyard. Being hoopty is just that middle state between being an actual car that's respectable and being in the junkyard. This thing is obviously being driven. The tires are in good shape. It looks like it's at a Home Depot somewhere. So it's being used as a vehicle in the 21st century, and it looks like it looks. So I think that that's an excellent choice for the hooptiest.
Yeah, you were talking about next door conversations. I mean, this thing right here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and for the Lemons build, well, I've got to choose the car that is the vehicle of choice for the RZA, the Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard, Inspected Deck, Raekwon, Ghostface Killer, Method Man, and the Master Killer, the Wu-Tang Mobile, the Mazda MPV. We've never seen one in Lemons. It's an all-wheel drive supercar, much like the Previa. Major style points. You could fit all your tires in the back in between races. Slam dunk choice. There's your Lemons build.
And you got a theme built in.
Exactly. Wu-Tang forever. All right, that'll do it for this episode. As always, tag your photos with Lemons Car Spotting on Instagram. We'll find it and we will review them on this show. We'll see you next week. Somebody should make a list of all of the cars that were shouted out in early 90s rap songs that in retrospect weren't really that hip.
Yeah. Every Mercedes ever and an MPV.
And an MPV and a Geo tracker.